Everybody. Welcome once again to TheNonProphets. This show is brought to you by the Atheist Community of Austin. I'm your host, Jeff D. My co-hosts are Mary McManamee.
Hi, folks.
And producer Russell Glasser, sitting in today for our missing Vic Farrow. Hey, Russell.
Hi.
And today's opening music was Lotto Fever by a band called the ACA'S. In a bottle of noodles, I found a small green fish who told a fish story he could grant me any wish. And as you'll hear when we play the whole thing at the end of the show, he quits his job, wishes for everything, and doesn't get a blamed thing. The ACA'S are really, really, really cool. They're one of my favorite bands, and you can find out more about them at www.theacabats.com. They're these guys, they dress up as superheroes on stage and dance around, and between songs and sometimes during songs, guys dressed as supervillains will come out on stage and they have fights.
I love the monster on the back.
Yeah, we have the CD cover here.
So cool.
Mary's been admiring the Floating Eye of Death. We are live July 27, 2002. The Atheist Community of Austin is a non-profit educational organization promoting positive atheism and the separation of church and state. We have weekly meetings Sunday mornings at the Hot Jumbo Bagel Shop at 307 West 5th Street, right here in Austin, Texas, at 7:30 a.m., except for the first Sunday of each month when we have our lecture series at 11 a.m. in the Longhorn Room of Fur's Cafeteria at North Cross Mall. The next lecture is going to be on August 4. Jason Credure will be doing a presentation on neuro-linguistic programming. Now, every once in a while, we get a crackpot, and that's what I think this guy's going to turn out to be, because I went to Quackwatch, the Quackwatch website, www.quackwatch.com, and it had this to say about neuro-linguistic programming on its page entitled, Mental Help, Procedures to Avoid. Neuro-linguistic programming is a variable system of procedures purported to enable people to communicate more effectively and influence others. It is said to involve modifying the patterns or programming created by interactions among the brain, language, and the body that produce both effective and ineffective behavior. Scientific studies have demonstrated no correlation between eye movements and visual imagery, reported thoughts, or language choices. A National Research Council committee has found no significant evidence that NLP's theories are sound or that its practices are effective. So that'll be interesting.
If he is a crackpot, then I feel very sorry for him, because we've been known to have guys who we didn't agree with show up at the lectures before.
My favorite, by far, was the chaplain.
Yeah.
We had this army chaplain come and speak to us, and he swore up and down during the negotiations for him to appear as guest, that he would talk about how he can find himself to how the whole thing works, right? Lost the word now. Chaplains in the military, and
not preach,
and how atheists fit into that whole thing, right? And not preach. Instead, he preached. He basically, he started out by saying, here's a whole bunch of things I'm sure we can all agree with, and we didn't agree with any of them. And so we ripped him a new butthole, and that was really amusing.
When was he there?
That was a couple of years ago now.
Yeah,
a couple of years
I remember hearing about it, but I didn't really know when it was.
He was really asking for it. And of course, on the other hand, it's always kind of creepy to watch my fellow atheists turn into pod people. And all go... point their finger at the guy we don't agree with all at once and just gang bang him. But on the other hand, this guy completely deserved it, and I'm sure this NLP guy will too.
And even atheists believe that people ought to have the right to their opinion and their beliefs as long as they're not impeding on other people's rights.
That includes us too. Nobody amongst us is going to say, you are not allowed to believe what you're saying. Right. But we are going to say, you are a flaming retard, if what that guy says doesn't make any sense. Okay. ACA board meetings are at 10 a.m. right before our regular meeting on the second Sunday of every month, and that's a few weeks away yet. If you shop at the Randall's Food Store chain, you can give them our nonprofit organization number 5158, and 1% of your purchase will automatically be donated to the Atheist Community of Austin. The Godless Gamers meet Monday nights at 7 p.m. here at Glasser Studios. ACA Happy Hour is at Antonio's near Highway 35 and 183 every Thursday night at 7:30 p.m., though sometimes people aren't there right at the start, so hang around if you get there and there's nobody else there yet. For more information, you can call our voicemail at 371-2911 or visit our website at www.atheist-community.org. Mary, did they drain your veins today?
They did!
Did they? How many atheists got their veins drained?
Let's see, it was...
Tim?
No, Tim wasn't there, but we had...
We have Tim Burnett here in our studio audience. Hi, Tim.
Hi, honey. Burnett, yeah.
Okay, Burnett.
Just like Carol.
How do you... But isn't Burnett pronounced Burnett, like for like streets and cities and stuff around town?
Yeah, one T. Burn it, darn it.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you. Burnett.
Burnett.
Okay, so they suck your blood out right out of your veins.
They did.
Yeah,
and thanks to Michelle for organizing the blood drive today. Michelle Gadush, our co-chair.
Right.
Basically, it was me, Jeff Jones, and Jill Ford, and Charles Taboni. Or Tabany.
I think it's Tabany.
Tabany. Sorry, Charles. And
Taboni is funnier.
Yeah. Well, it kind of looks like Taboni. But, yeah, okay, I think you're right. It's Tabany.
All right. Well, that's
he's corrected me before. Sorry, Charles.
We did our blood drive. We've been kind of lax about the whole blood drive thing.
But it was a good turnout, and there were already a lot of other people there, a lot of non-atheists there. And, yeah. I heard some woman who was apparently a Christian. She was kind of taken aback that there were so many atheists there, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't exactly hear what she said, though. Oh. She wasn't being snide or anything. She just said something like, I don't know, like she was kind of surprised or something, or I don't know. I don't know that
atheism is contagious. No atheist blood.
That's godless blood. Actually, I'll take that over there.
Heathen blood. No, I don't think it was anything like that. I think she was just kind of surprised to hear that there was a group or something.
Oh.
I know what it was. She said she was wondering what church we were with, and then she was like, oh no, that's right, it's not really a church. So, yeah. So anyway, that was fun.
Okay, well. Let's do some announcements. Other announcements, shall we? A moment, please. There we go. So if you encounter people like that who are saying crazy or stupid or mean things about atheists, you can email the Atheist Ombuds if you hear it in the media.
Yeah.
Email the Atheist Ombuds at ombuds@atheism.org. Tell them what you heard, where you heard it, and so on, as many details as possible, and then they will contact participating national and local non-theist organizations who will distribute press releases. It's mostly for, radio stations that say horrible things like "I never met a happy atheist" and so on.
Right.
Yeah.
How come you didn't write that to the Ombuds, or did you?
I don't know. I've never written anything to the Ombuds.
Well, that's worth a letter. Godless Americans to march on Washington on Saturday, November 2. Godless Americans will make history and march on Washington, D.C. At the 28th National Convention of American Atheists, President Ellen Johnson announced this new initiative, and AA is asking all atheists, freethinkers, secular humanists, sexual humanists, and rationalists.
We've got some sex stories today, folks.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Sex in the news. Where am I? Anyway, if you don't believe in any gods, contact American Atheists and they'll get you all the info you need to get to Washington, D.C. and march with a huge crowd of other non-believers on the Capitol. It's about time that we stopped encountering people at the blood bank who express opinions like, "Oh, I'm surprised that there's a group or that there's so many atheists."
Yeah.
September 11 secular memorials. Another effort that American Atheists is organizing is to foster as many secular memorial services on upcoming September 11 as possible. The key word here is public. Mm-hmm. There's info at www.secularmemorials.org. Oh, by the way, the March on Washington info is at www.godlessamericans.org. Now you can collect past episodes of this show and as our sister show, The Atheist Experience, which airs only on public access television in Austin, Texas, on a CD. Each CD contains a full month's worth of audio from both shows in QuickTime and MP3. plus extra surprises. The CDs are $5 each. Contact atheist@mac.com for info. Also, I want to announce that Amanda is organizing a visit to the Congress Street Bridge on August 4 in the evening to watch the bats down there. We have the largest urban bat population in the world. Second largest? Largest, I think it's the largest urban bat population in the world. Lives under a bridge.
But stressing the word
town.
Urban.
Right. There's bigger bunches of bats elsewhere.
Yeah.
But that's really, 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 really cool and smelly.
Yeah.
Bats
Lots of
smell
guano.
That's right. Okay.
What's happening tonight?
No. August 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amanda thought it was tonight, but Michelle announced it was on the 4th.
Okay.
So it's on the 4th.
4th.
Okay. Russell?
Yes.
Why don't you do some news?
All right.
You
Russell's
prepared?
got his PDA.
Yeah. Today in the news.
Pretty darn amazing.
Yeah.
That's what that stands for.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. We've got something about a Ten Commandments monument.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah?
Mayor Matthew Godfrey may appeal a ruling to the U.S. Supreme Court that would allow another religion to put its doctrine next to a Ten Commandments monument in the Ogden Municipal Gardens.
Mm-hmm.
We're obviously very disappointed, Godfrey said, in announcing that he is considering an appeal. We may need to talk to our legal counsel to see where we go from here. The ruling may be something we want to appeal, the Ogden mayor said Monday. An appeals court said Friday that Ogden could not display the religious statements of one organization while denying another group the right to display its religious statements in the same location.
Darn tootin'.
The 10th Circuit Court in Denver ordered the case sent back to the U.S. District Court in Salt Lake City. Federal Judge Bruce Jenkins is then expected to rule in accordance with the higher circuit. The case can now be appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court or to a full panel of judges in the 10th Circuit. The 5-foot-tall granite monument of the Ten Commandments, just like the one we have here, right?
Sure, all the ones that were donated by the Eagles.
The Fraternal Order of Eagles.
Right.
Oh.
All of them look exactly the same.
Yeah.
Let's see, donated in 1966. Presuming that the monument was religious in nature, a Salt Lake City-based ecumenical organization had asked the city if it could display a similar monument outlining the 7 aphorisms of its religion.
What religion is this we're talking about?
Sounds like Mormonism to me, isn't it?
No, it's not. Keep going.
No? What is it? Okay. Ogden denied the request, and the Summum faith subsequently sued the city on First Amendment grounds.
Faith.
I don't know what Summum
I don't know what that is.
Summum.
Summum.
Richard Van Wagener, the attorney who argued on the city's behalf, said the appellate court did not address legal issues Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Did not address legal issues he had urged the case to be judged on. Instead of examining the context that the monument violated the law's separation between church and state, the court chose to look at the free speech aspect of the dispute. So guess what?
What?
If you have the free speech to put Christian propaganda on there, then you also have the free speech to put Summum propaganda up there.
Right.
And Wiccan and Scientologists.
And secular.
And secular, right. So, you know, hey, freedom of speech. We can put whatever the heck we want.
That's right.
Okay, here's another quick news brief.
Yeah.
South Carolina to unveil In God We Trust license plates in 2003.
Damn it. Speaking of freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Oh.
Freedom of speech paid for with your tax dollars,
specifically. No, that's not free.
The latest license plate issued by the state will have the motto, In God We Trust. What, all of them?
Maybe it's optional. You know how here you have different types of license plates you can get.
Okay. Division of Motor Vehicles officials say production of the plates will start next year. They cost $24.
Okay. So it's optional.
They're like custom plates.
Yeah.
The motto is written across the top of the tag. American and South Carolina flags are in the center. Spartanburg Representative Lanny Littlejohn said the idea for the tag came after seeing the surge of patriotism following the September 11th terrorist attacks.
Ugh.
And I'd like to remind people, in case they forgot, that patriotism and religion really aren't connected.
Right. Yeah. Unless you're John Ashcroft. Because
Yeah.
he likes guns and he likes God.
Or you're alluding.
Yeah.
Which, frankly, is the same thing. Since you
You know
brought
what?
up
There
John
might be a
Ashcroft,
way to counter that, and that is
Yeah.
that they could somebody could start a drive to have, various secular slogans on their custom plates.
such as there already
atheist.
are secular
Right.
slogans on plates. So
Well, yeah, but I mean, particularly, when this one, with this issue, for example, there was the case in Florida where the guy had the word atheist
Right.
on his bumper sticker, and he almost had to have it taken off until there was such an outcry that it was able to be left on there.
Right.
My point is, they could do the same thing in is it South Carolina where this is going on? Russell, with the...
yes,
Yeah.
South
Okay.
Carolina.
They could do the same thing, but just have, folks who are secular or agnostic, put something, on their plate like, atheist or something else, some other message that I'm not having anything pop in my head right now, but, something that would just let people know, look, not everybody feels that this is right in terms of, allowing tax dollars to be spent on
Yeah,
religious
that's true.
messages.
By
I
the way,
noticed in that story-
Quick remark.
Yeah.
Sorry, Infidel is letting me know that we should give a shout out to the guys in the MSN God is a Lie chat room. Who are,
Hey, guys.
Hey, all.
What?
Hey, guys.
Now Reggie is swearing, but there's a 1 minute delay, so I don't think he's swearing because of that.
Oh, okay.
Well, and here's our official howdy to the
Yes.
MSN God is a Lie chat room.
Hi,
Hey, folks, thanks for
everyone.
tuning
Hi,
in.
people.
Back to the story you're just talking about with the license plates.
Yeah.
Spartanburg Representative Lanny Littlejohn says the idea for the tag came after seeing the surge of patriotism following the September 11 terror attacks.
Right.
That's
Russell
a big,
mentioned that.
That is a big fat lie. Because when are we hearing about it? Right? We're hearing about it now. And what just happened? Well, the case that ruled that in God we are. Well,
Under God,
That-
one nation under God.
one nation under God is unconstitutional.
Oh, how
Mhm.
convenient.
So it is this recent event that has prompted them to do this other latest crazy thing.
Because people who don't trust in God are not patriarch.
Right.
Also, I just traveled back in time to check my computer and do a little background research on this Summum religion.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Did you cover any of this stuff? Did you know that
I don't know anything about Summum.
the
Please enlighten us.
founder of Summum is named Corky Ra? Apparently, he changed his last name.
Corky?
Corky changed his last name to Ra
Corky.
because they've got a bunch of pyramid power beliefs. Summum's aphorisms include principles of, quote, psychokinesis, correspondence, vibration, opposition, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Maybe that's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So wait.
6. Yeah, that's the 7 aphorisms.
You're saying
Gender?
he changed his last name to Ra, but he didn't bother to change that first
Apparently
name?
not. Apparently not. The principle of vibration, for example, states, quote, nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates.
No.
According to founder Ra, who assumed the name of the Egyptian sun
If you hang
god.
around the right place, they do.
According to founder Ra, who assumed the name of the Egyptian sun god, the principles come, quote, from ancient times before the Bible was written, unquote.
Summum.
Gee, and I'm surprised the governor was disappointed that had to be fixed.
Yeah.
So you were about
What's
to say
the matter,
something about...
boy?
Huh?
What's the matter, guy? I thought it was a free speech issue.
I think what's most disappointing from the perspective of religious people that want to have a special authority granted to Christianity in our government is that what they're saying, what this court has said, is that the principles of vibration and psychokinesis and rhythm, these summum weird pyramid power beliefs, have exactly the same legal status as the Ten Commandments.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly the same.
Yep.
That's right.
You were about to go on
The
to
court that said this?
Ashcroft.
I
Yeah,
was? Oh, yes.
yeah.
Although we could go either way. We could go to Ashcroft or we could go to Michael
I can't
Newdow.
go either way. I've tried. I can only go the one way. I'm sorry, what?
Let's go Ashcroft.
You wouldn't do Ashcroft, I'm sure of it. Come on, man.
Okay.
Or maybe, wait a minute, because maybe then we should do the volunteers.
Oh, what?
Want to do the big brothers, big sisters story?
Why not? Let's do Ashcroft.
Okay.
We do Ashcroft.
Fine.
Actually, there's not much of a story here, but Ashcroft's terrorism policies dismay some conservatives.
Yeah.
What?
Many religious conservatives who were most instrumental in pressing President Bush to appoint John Ashcroft as Attorney General now say they have become deeply troubled by his actions as the leading public figure in the law enforcement drive against terrorism.
You mean they've noticed he's a frickin' retard?
Apparently.
Where's that song? Oh, damn, I didn't bring it in today.
Oh.
Well, I mean, when he was being a frickin' retard...
eagle soar. That's cool taste.
Apparently, when he was being a
Ashcroft's
retard
song.
in a way that they liked, it was okay.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Their dismay comes as several Bush advisors have begun complaining that Mr. Ashcroft, with his lifelong politician's fondness for attention, has in the limelight, apparently, has projected himself too often and too forcefully. More significantly, they say privately that he seems to be overstating the evidence of terrorist threats. Most striking, however, is how some conservatives who were Mr. Ashcroft's biggest promoters for his cabinet appointment after he lost his re-election to the Senate in 2000 to a dead guy, this story doesn't mention,
Right.
Yeah.
have lost enthusiasm. They cite his anti-terrorist positions as enhancing the kind of government power that they instinctively oppose.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, they wanted a guy to apply biblical principles to
Right,
government, right?
right.
To federal law, but
Right.
they didn't want a guy to apply biblical principles to federal law.
Yeah, one last thing on this. Ken Connor, the president of the Family Research Council, said that while he still applauded Mr. Ashcroft's stand on abortion and child pornography, he and many other religious leaders were dismayed by the changes instituted at the Justice Department. It's important that we conservatives maintain a high degree of vigilance, Mr. Connor said. We need to ask ourselves the question, how would our groups fare under these new rules?
Right, because you religious conservatives, when you fly in airplanes now, they're going to open your luggage. And they're going to look in there, and they're going to find your own personal pornography.
Yep.
We're not Arab Americans. We don't look like terrorists, do we?
He's not being sufficiently racist and
Hateful.
Yeah, hateful. So I guess that the perfect solution for them would have been if terrorists from Afghanistan had bombarded us with Afghan porn.
Yeah. Or
Right. Or offered to give free abortions to Americans who travel to Afghanistan.
Or what if the Afghan terrorists had been Christian? Dum dum dum.
How would that have helped their position?
I mean, they might have. I mean, it wouldn't have.
No.
But in terms of their own belief system, it might have made it a little less problematic.
Why?
Well, just because. I don't know. Let me think about that one some more. But it just. Yeah.
I was going somewhere with my joke.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm done now.
Oh, okay.
What do we got next?
Well, now do we want to hear about Big Brothers, Big
Sure,
Sisters?
I do.
I've heard something on the
Do you
radio
have any
about
brothers and sisters?
what?
You.
You mean literal brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
Yeah, my sister is going to be moving to Austin next week.
Really?
Yes.
Have I met her? Was she here?
She was here
Karen.
once. Yeah.
The time your mom and dad came? When your dad was on the TV show?
Either my mom or my dad
Oh.
came with her.
Marriage?
Don't
Brothers
remember
and
which
sisters?
one.
Nope. Only child.
Really?
Yeah.
Just the one they said, no.
It's like, that's it for us.
I have two older brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
and then there's a story.
Yes. This isn't about that kind of Big Brothers and Big Sisters, actually. This is about the organizations that...
Right, I know it is.
little
What
kids.
are they up to?
Well, religious groups are assailing the agency's gay volunteers.
Oh.
How's
The
that?
Valley Big Brothers Big Sisters in Phoenix, which is very conservative, and it's where my sister is coming from, and affiliates nationwide are under fire by a leading Christian organization for accepting gay and lesbian volunteers.
Oh.
Big Brothers Big Sisters of America
Stupid.
has had an anti-discrimination policy for years, as has the Phoenix office.
Yeah.
But a new push this month to make sure all affiliates have such policies is drawing attention to the fact the organization matches some gay volunteers with children. Colorado-based Focus on the Family
Oh, those creepy
Dr.
boys.
James Dobson.
I hate those people.
and similar groups are denouncing the nonprofit organization.
Well, I'm denouncing them.
Yeah.
Focus on the family.
Denounce.
Yes.
Take the
Shame,
plumbers down.
I denounce you. Bill Mayer, Focus on the Family Vice President, said in a statement, "I am saddened to see this notable organization subverting the values of millions of parents."
Wait, which organization is he talking about? He's talking
Talking
about.
about Big Brothers.
He's not talking about Focus on the Family. Isn't that notable
He did say
organization?
this notable organization. Yes, he meant himself.
Right, because that organization is subverting the values of millions of parents. Millions of parents
yeah.
don't care.
Right.
Millions of parents think that your sexual orientation does not automatically turn you into some kind of criminal.
Nope.
Yeah. One email account at Valley Big Brothers Big Sisters was flooded with 20,000 complaints in 24 hours. Oh yeah, I've heard them do this on the Focus on the Family show before.
Right.
They say,
Everybody do
here's an
this.
email address, and everybody write to this address. And then they get all pissed off because the email account shuts down.
Hey,
it's
Russell.
like, what did you expect?
Hey, Russell,
Yes.
could you find an email address for Focus on the Family?
Yeah, but what if we got a
Well,
dozen people listening
If we don't
to
get
us?
started, if we don't get into the habit, then we will never be able to muster our forces of atheism to letter bomb them with, to shut down their email
Do we
accounts.
want to sink down to that level?
I don't know that we want to do that.
I don't mean letter. That's not what I meant. I mean explosives. I mean email.
No,
right? Just like they're doing.
yeah, I know.
Just like they're doing. Yes, of course we want to sink down. That's not thinking. That's activism, dude. That's activism.
Okay.
Do me a favor. Go find the Focus on the Family email
I will,
address.
but first I want to tell you what I heard some people when I heard some people on the radio actually talking about
boy.
this earlier. in the week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
On Focus on the Family?
No,
Or-
actually,
okay.
I think it was on Ed Sawson.
Ah,
Okay. That's the
but-
guy who never met a happy atheist.
Right, same
Uh-huh.
station.
here
though.
local.
So he listens to Focus on the Family in the morning, no doubt, and then,
Oh, yeah.
and then gives his spin on it later.
Mhm.
And he was like, what bothers me about this is that, they specifically say active homosexual, which means, of course, that they go to gay bars and have multiple partners and all that.
What?
It's like, wait a minute. How do you know the straight Big
You're not
Brothers and
a
Sisters?
true homosexual unless you are also insanely promiscuous.
How do you know the straight
spurn-
brothers and sisters aren't going to straight bars and having tons of partners? What difference
Doesn't
does it
matter.
make if they're the same gender?
So
Anyway, let me find
stupid.
that address.
All right, and then I'll do some news. How's that?
That'd be great.
Let's see. Where should we start today? So, now, a couple of years ago, this was a joke on The Onion. Now it's not a joke.
Oh, no.
The second law of thermodynamics
Yeah.
is no longer universally applicable.
They're sure about this.
Yes.
Wow.
Scientists at the Australian National University have carried out an experiment involving lasers and microscopic beads that disobeys the second law of thermodynamics, something many scientists had considered impossible. The law of entropy is one of the bedrocks on which modern theoretical physics is based. It is one of a handful of laws about which scientists or physicists feel most certain. The second law states that entropy, or disorder, of a closed system always increases. Put simply, it says that things fall apart, disorder overcomes everything eventually. But when this principle is applied to small systems, such as collections of molecules, there is a paradox.
Wait a minute.
What?
You want to hear about Focus on the Family email?
Yeah.
We realize that many of you would prefer to contact us using email. We apologize, but we're currently unable to make available the level of service we desire to provide. Hypocrites!
Yeah.
Well, fine. Then, give me the fax number. The fax number
number.
for Focus on the Family is area code 531-3424. And Russell, if you'll please copy that fax number and post it to the chat room.
Okay, how about some suggestions on what to do with this fax number?
I suggest you take the fax number, write a short letter expressing your dismay at Focus on the Family's attack on this fine organization, Big Brothers Big Sisters, simply because they choose not to discriminate against people's free choice of sexual orientation or possibly genetically determined sexual orientation. Either way, it is not something to discriminate people for.
No, it's not.
Well,
send them a short fax. One page would be nice, in great big letters so that they can't miss what it's about. Expressing your dismay. I think that would be a fine thing.
Preferably
I will be doing it
make
myself.
your background black with white text.
No. That's not necessary. What was that number again? Okay. 719-531-3424. Fax number.
And actually, the best thing you can do is to be polite, because that tends to be the way that you're heard.
Don't fax them, don't fax
Don't
your
fill it with
genitals, or don't give them a finger or anything. Don't do that. Don't do that. It'll just help convince them that the people that don't agree with them are evil. Don't be evil. Tell them that you think they're wrong.
Right.
Okay. So meanwhile, back to the second law of thermodynamics. So the principle applied to small systems, such as collections of molecules, breaks down. There's a paradox. Equations in... the second law says that the disorder of the universe can only increase in time, but the equations of classical and quantum mechanics, the laws that govern the behavior of the very small, are time reversible.
What does that mean?
It means they work the same whether the process is going forward or backward. A few years ago, a tentative theoretical solution to this paradox was supposed, the so-called fluctuation theorem, stating that the chances of the second law being violated increases as the system in question gets smaller. This means that at human scales, the second law dominates and machines only ever run in one direction. However, when working at molecular scales and over extremely short periods of time, things can take place in either direction. Scientists have now proved this principle experimentally. Professor Denis Evans and colleagues at the Research School of Chemistry at the Australian National University put 100 tiny beads into a water-filled container. They fired a laser beam at one of the beads, electrically charging the tiny particle and trapping it. The container holding the beads was then moved from side to side 1,000 times a second so that the trapped bead would be dragged first one way and then the other. The researchers discovered that in such a tiny system, entropy can sometimes decrease rather than increase. This effect was seen when the researchers looked at the bead's behavior for 1/10 of a second. Any longer, and the effect was lost. So, why is this interesting to atheists? Well, what was it that you were saying that they said in the Onion article about the second law?
A couple of years ago, the Onion had a thing that said, group lobby or religious right lobbies to overturn second law of thermodynamics.
Right, which I find ironic because the only time I ever hear the second law of thermodynamics from religious people is when they are misapplying it in an effort to claim that, well, if the second law of thermodynamics is true, then there can't be evolution, because evolution is we get bigger and bigger organisms and more complex organisms. And we can't have a universe because, if there was even if it started with a big bang, there would just be an explosion and it would sort of all settle down and there wouldn't be a universe. So they apply the second law, claiming that it proves everything had to be designed fully functional at the beginning so that it can run down to where it is now. So what does this tell us, right? I mean, this seems to support, now I'm not a physicist, and maybe somebody on the chat room can fill me in. This seems to support the quantum fluctuation theory of the origin of the Big Bang, where you had nothing or some tiny little speck of nothing, and then out of that, bang, a whole universe came.
Yeah.
And was able to do that, not in violation of the second law. Now, earlier, I've heard defenses of that saying that what, the net energy of the entire universe is 0, so it all cancels out anyway?
I've never heard that.
My understanding is that, first of all, the Christians who say this are misapplying the second law of thermodynamics. That mainly the important thing to keep in mind is that the net entropy of a closed system always increases. Unless there's some special case now where it doesn't. But the Earth not being a closed system, but continuously bombarded by heat and light from the sun, that there's no reason at all why any equation expressed about the second law of thermodynamics prohibits evolution any more than it prohibits a plant growing from a seed into a full-sized
It would
plant.
prohibit evolution that happened not driven by anything, but just sort of automagically all over the universe at once. Right?
Yeah.
You want to read a quote that's now obsolete?
Sure.
No.
You want to read this?
This is from 1948.
Yeah.
Huh. Oh, the second law of thermodynamics.
People refer to it.
Okay.
Okay.
A.S. Eddington wrote in 1948, "The law that entropy always increases, the second law of thermodynamics, holds, I think, the supreme position among the laws of nature. If someone points out to you that your pet theory of the universe is in disagreement with Maxwell's equations, then so much the worse for Maxwell's equations. If it is found to be contradicted by observation, well, these experimentalists do bungle things sometimes. But if your theory is found to be against the second law of thermodynamics, I can give you no hope. There is nothing for it but to collapse in deepest humiliation." Well, not anymore.
Sorry, guys.
As long as you're dealing with very small collections of molecules in very short periods of time.
And he didn't know about lasers.
Yeah, well,
Lasers.
lasers. They can't see that on the radio.
Yeah.
Mary, you want to
When
do
you
some
do
news?
the Dr.
Sure.
Evil pinky thing.
Yeah.
Well, you have to pronounce it lasers. Then they you can kind of hear the quotation marks.
Yeah. Yeah, let me start with some news here. Let's see what I got. Okay. Oh, yeah, here's some good news out of New Orleans. Or Nolans. Nolans. Some money from Louisiana's program to promote sexual abstinence among young people was used unconstitutionally to advance religion. This is according to a federal judge in his ruling on Thursday.
Yeah.
U.S. District Judge G. Thomas Porteous, Jr. ordered that the governor's program on abstinence stop giving money to individuals or groups that convey religious messages or otherwise advance religion in any way in events partly or wholly paid for by program funds.
Right.
One group even asked for hundreds of dollars for Bibles. But I know. But the state says such grants were stopped even before the judge ruled.
Now, let's be clear, right? We got nothing against abstinence.
Right. Well,
I'm abstaining right now. And there are many situations under which I think abstinence is not only entirely appropriate, but pretty much mandatory. Moving vehicles, right? When you're the driver, pretty much for highway safety. I think there should be abstinence. I'm not saying I always follow this principle of mine, but I'm saying
generally,
generally speaking,
genitally. Okay.
We did promise we would talk about sex today.
Yeah, I know.
All right, what's the next news? Or is there more of this?
Yeah, let me do a little more on this one.
Okay.
Basically, this judge's ruling, Porteous's ruling, came in a lawsuit filed by the ACLU. Of course, that's the American Civil Liberties Union. Money for the governor's program was funneled from federal abstinence only. That's also abstinence only grants authorized under 1996 welfare legislation. Joe Cook, director of the Louisiana ACLU, says Porteous's ruling marked the first successful challenge in the nation of the way money from the federal program was used. Okay, now to get the other side of this argument, Governor Mike Foster, a strong backer of the program, says he is reviewing legal opinions but will take immediate steps to assure the program complies with the law. But he said it was sad that such a worthwhile program was challenged in the courts. So, yeah.
Whoa, it was sad that it was challenged?
That's what he said.
Even though there was clearly things wrong with it?
Yeah. That's what he said.
So if it's worthwhile,
Yeah.
if it's worthwhile, then we have to pretend that it's perfect.
Right.
That is what he is saying.
Right.
You know what? That is a load of stinking manure.
Sure is. Yep. I love this part. Porteous's ruling included examples of religious references in GPA-funded material. For example, GPA money went to a theater group called Just Say Whoa that put on plays to encourage abstinence among high school students. One Just Say Whoa character is named Bible Guy and states to other characters, quote, "As Christians, our bodies belong to the Lord, not to us. God wants more for you than a one-night stand," unquote.
Well, I would need to know the context of that, because if he was, like, in a clown nose with big floppy feet and people were, like, throwing things at him, that'd be all right.
I kind of doubt it. I can picture a cape, and Bible guy with a cape and
I would like to
a big
see
Like the
bee.
Bible Man superhero character.
Right.
I would like to see a showdown between Bible Guy and Trojan Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of erections, a federal judge ruled that a 6-foot cross erected in the Mojave National Preserve conveys a message of endorsement of religion on federal land and should be taken down. U.S. District Judge Robert Timlin of Riverside on Wednesday sided with attorneys for the American Civil Liberties Union who believed the cross violated the Constitution because it was a religious symbol on public land. Well, duh. Unless the government is willing to open up the land to everyone in a come-one, come-all manner, then the government has no business allowing just the one symbol, said Peter Elias Berg, staff attorney of the ACLU's Southern California chapter. U.S. Department of Justice, which represented the National Park Service in the case, said it was uncertain if it would appeal. Russell, do you have any more?
Actually, yes.
Do you know one?
Michael Newdow, where are you?
He's in California, I think. Not here. We called him, but his
There we
phone
go.
was disconnected.
Probably from all the death threats.
Right.
Pledge challenger opens new front. Even as his personal profile balloons to national proportions over his challenge to the Pledge of Allegiance, Dr. Michael Newdow persists in other uphill battles to put more distance between church and state.
All right.
Good for him.
The Sacramento physician, I'm glad he's doing all this and taking the heat for us, frankly.
No, bullshit. We should all jump on the bandwagon.
Okay. Dr. Newdow
Can't be letting this one guy, because then what happens? That one guy dies, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? We had just a few guys defending science, and a lot of those guys are dead now.
True.
Yeah.
The Sacramento physician has enjoyed fleeting success in his attempt to get the Pledge of Allegiance out of public
I read that
schools.
article too. It's very interesting, the spin that is stuck into the words that they use there.
Yeah,
Fleeting
success.
success. He persists.
It hasn't fleeted yet, has it?
No, it hasn't fleeted yet. It's still
Okay.
going on, right?
Yeah. In his attempt to get the Pledge of Allegiance out of public schools, because it includes the phrase
And
"One
what
nation
is
under
this
God."
first sentence?
That's not true either, actually.
No, and it's inaccurate. But in the first sentence, even as his personal profile balloons to national proportions, is like, what? So that immediately there's the implication he is doing this just to be a celebrity.
Right. Yeah.
Bullshit.
What's the source for that article?
I hate the way this is phrased.
That is Sacramento Bee. I think.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't print the headline or the byline.
Okay.
Let's see. And I was going to say, he's not trying to get the Pledge of Allegiance out of public schools necessarily. He's trying to get the phrase "under God"
out of the Pledge of
removed from the
Allegiance,
pledge.
if the pledge is conducted as an official activity of the schools.
Right. But U.S. Magistrate Judge Gregory G. Hollows this month recommended rejecting a separate challenge by Newdow, this one an attempt to exclude religious themes from congressional resolutions. As he did in 2 earlier lawsuits in Sacramento federal court, Newdow asserts that as an atheist he is made to feel like an outsider when government fosters belief in a religious God. He is appealing dismissal of the
What? A
challenge.
religious God?
As opposed to what?
Yeah, as opposed to what?
I don't know.
I hate the way this is worded.
As he did in 2 earlier lawsuits in Sacramento federal court, Newdow asserts that as an atheist, he is made to... Oops, I already read that.
Yeah.
He is appealing dismissal of a challenge to
You're just
prayer at
torturing me by reading
inaugural
the same damn sentence
ceremonies.
again.
And a victory in his Pledge of Allegiance quest is on hold. In this third suit, Udow cites 5 concurrent or non-binding congressional resolutions that refer to God or prayer, and once again claims they violate the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment.
Absolutely.
The clause bars government from setting up a state religion or taking steps to do so. Oh, that's another spin that they threw in.
What's this?
When religious groups defend against the First Amendment, as
Right.
they are doing so often these days,
Right.
one thing they say is, well, that says nothing about, you can't do anything religious. It just says you can't establish a state religion.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're not establishing a state religion. They're just making kids say under God, as they should.
That's not a religion. That's the truth.
Yeah.
What?
Well, you finish the story, and then I'll talk about one God I'm pretty sure they don't
calling
mean
that-
Yeah.
when they have
good.
kids say God. That's it?
Yeah.
Here is one God I'm pretty sure that they don't mean. Those people who want to argue that God is a generic term and you can mean whichever God you believe in. Of course, it's still discriminating against atheists.
Right.
But they want you to believe that, you can say under God and mean Allah, right? Or mean Jehovah, or mean whatever.
Oh, and if you don't want to say it, you don't have to.
Well, there's that too. But here's one God I'm pretty sure they don't mean. Hundreds of people in northern India have begun worshipping a British soldier who died 145 years ago. And and this is also an important thing to trot out when you encounter Christians who make the claim that, people wouldn't, accidentally take some normal human being and, elevate him to the status of a god.
Has anybody
by
died
accident.
for this guy yet? Because that would be a great story.
Not yet.
Oh, boy.
This guy, British soldier, died 145 years ago. They believe he has divine powers and has helped people get off court cases and solve their sexual problems. There's that sex again. Devotees are offering fruit, flowers, meat, cigarettes, and liquor at the grave of Captain F. Whale, W-A-L-E, at the Palace Garden ruins of Musa Bagh in Lucknow. Captain Whale was of the 1st Sikh Cavalry and killed in action during the Mutiny of 1857. Locals have even composed hymns and prayers to the soldier and taken to describing him variously as Captain Baba, Captain Sage, Gora Baba, White Sage, or Gora Bhagwan, White God.
Wow.
The grave, normally deserted, began attracting followers after rumors of the captain's miraculous powers. It was believed people involved in serious criminal cases were acquitted by the courts after prayers were offered at the grave, or mazar. Young men looking for solutions to their sexual problems and barren women hoping to have children are also among those who regularly visit the grave. Sify.com, S-I-F-Y.com, reports that one local man, Krishna Prasad, is reported to have offered beer at the grave in hope Gora Baba would help him fulfill a wish to have sexual relations with a neighbor. I'm going to have to email Krishna and find out if that works.
Yeah, really.
The self-appointed caretaker of the grave, who is only known by her first name, Sakina, said, "Devotees took to the practice of offering alcohol and cigarettes at the grave because the captain was thought to be fond of drinking, smoking, and sex." I need to get to be a god.
Yeah.
Then they can offer all the things I'm fond of.
And you made
I
the
don't
point
like
earlier before we went on the air. Why aren't they bringing in porno?
That's right. Why aren't they offering him porn?
They need to.
Can we change it to drinking, Warcraft, and sex? I could be a god.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, sure.
Mary?
Well, I wanted to go ahead and go back a little bit to the under God portion of the stories that we've been doing.
Yeah, let's make it quick because
Okay.
I want to get to our back pedophilia
Yeah.
section
Well, I've
today,
got that
of which
too.
there is some interesting new development.
There is indeed. Nude developments? Oh, sorry. All right, so who was responsible for getting under God into the Pledge of Allegiance half a century ago? Well, the first name that might pop into your head is Eisenhower.
Eisenhower.
All right, well,
Yeah.
there's actually some other dude behind it.
What do you mean?
The key role may have been played by a British citizen, a Washington pastor who advocated the change in a sermon delivered to an audience that included President
Wait, he was a
Eisenhower.
British citizen?
Yes.
But he was a pastor
Yes.
in Washington, D.C.?
Yes.
Okay.
and Eisenhower heard his speech. And the reason he made this speech, it says here he was, Dougherty was struggling for a sermon topic when his son Garth, age 7, came home from school. And Dougherty casually asked him, "What did you do in school today?" "Nothing." "Come on, you must have done something. What's the first thing you did in class today?" "Said the Pledge of Allegiance." Well,
Yeah.
when he asked Garth to recite the pledge, it was then that he noted the absence of any reference to God, and he said, quote, "I had found my sermon."
Oh, boy.
This guy, George Dougherty, the Reverend George Dougherty, lives in, I've got it here, oh, I just read it. He now lives in, he's 91 now, and he lives in central Pennsylvania.
He's still alive?
Yes, he's still alive. Said last week he got the idea for preaching an Under God sermon in 1952.
Yeah, boy.
But he said nothing happened after that first presentation on May 3rd, 1952. The nationwide movement he had hoped for did not come about, and some clergy objected to the change for the same separation of church and state reasons given last week by the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Meanwhile, the Knights of Columbus, which in 1951 became the first group to voluntarily add Under God to its pledge recitations, had begun its own lobbying effort. On April 20th, 1953, Representative Louis Rabot, a Democrat of Michigan, filed a bill with the Under God wording. But action on the bill was slow until Dougherty preached his second sermon on the topic nearly a year later. So just to give some historical context for that ruling. So let's get to back pedophilia, shall we?
Okay. Now, it's been kind of slow lately, but this week it picked up. And there's only 2 stories, but they're biggies. And they
3,
both...
I've got one.
Oh, you've got one too.
Yeah.
The 2 I've got are both about priests turning on themselves now, which is sort of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Lawsuit says church hid priest's porn. From Concord, New Hampshire. A Roman Catholic priest filed a lawsuit Tuesday accusing Bishop John B. McCormick of waging a campaign to keep him silent about the discovery of a dead priest's collection of pornography. The Reverend James A. McCormick sued the Diocese of Manchester, and along with McCormick and other church officials, seeking undisclosed damages, saying they derailed his career in order to avoid a scandal. The diocesan chancellor, the Reverend Edward Arsenault, denied the allegations and accused McCormick of digging for money. Quote, "We are deeply saddened that a priest has chosen to attempt to capitalize on the death of a fellow priest for personal gain."
We need to play organ music while you do that.
Can I do the voice?
Yeah.
McCormick and his attorney, Robert McDaniel, have pressed the church for money through a series of threats to expose the difficult circumstances of the death of a priest in exchange for financial consideration, he said. McDaniel conceded diocesan officials never specifically ordered McCormick to stay quiet about the priest's pornography, but he said the bishop led an effort to ensure McCormick's silence, including accusing the priest of mental instability. His client's lawsuit, filed in state court, accuses the defendants of fraud, defamation, wrongful discharge... I would have nocturnal discharge. And intentional infliction of mental distress. Bishop McCormick has come under heavy criticism this year for his handling of sex abuse claims in his former post as an aide to Boston Cardinal Bernard Law. The lawsuit says the case began November 15, 1999, when McCormick helped authorities identify the body of the Reverend Richard Connors, who had died of a heart attack the night before at the home of 2 men. According to the lawsuit and police records, Connors was partially clothed at the time of his death. What they mean to say is he was partially unclothed at the time of his death.
Can I quote Prince? Scandalous! Okay, that's all.
And he was partially unclothed and had a black leather device tied around his genitals.
You?
This is police records now.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not the guy making this up.
Yep.
The 2 men told authorities Connors had come to the house to buy a dog. And I don't even know what the hell that was about.
Yikes.
Infidel guy says, or was that wrongful seminal discharge?
Yeah.
Connors, 56, had been a mentor of McCormick and was carrying his friend's business card when he died, so McCormick was summoned to identify the corpse. After assisting authorities, the lawsuit says, McCormick went to Connors' rectory. There, the suit says, he was joined by the Reverend Donald Clinton, a friend of the deceased priest, and the Reverend John Quinn, head of financial affairs for the diocese.
All I can think is Clinton and Quim.
Yeah, I know. Quinn allegedly told the priests to help him scour Connor's residence for anything embarrassing. The lawsuit says the clergyman found hundreds of pornographic videotapes, as well as many pornographic images depicting, quote, men engaged in sexual activity with boys.
Oh.
And there's the pedophilia angle.
Ugh.
The material was loaded into a car and later destroyed, according to a police report. Arsenault said at a news conference Tuesday that Connors was living, quote, an immoral life, and that homosexual pornography was found and destroyed. But none of it involved boys, he said.
Until now.
He also said no abuse complaints had been lodged against Connors. So, child pornography is still illegal, even if nobody knows you got it. Okay, well, so there we go. That's that story. A Brooklyn priest who was formerly defended has been suspended. New York City, a Catholic priest who the Brooklyn diocese once defended has been suspended because of past sexual abuse allegations, Newsday reported on Saturday. The priest, Reverend Joseph Burns, has been accused of molesting an altar boy who later entered the priesthood himself. Thinking he entered the priesthood through the back door, though. And there's my tasteless comment of the day. Thank you. The alleged victim, the Reverend Timothy Lambert, claims Burns molested him for 3 years, beginning when he was 11. Burns has denied the allegations. Diocese spokesman Frank DeRosa said the Associated Press told the Associated Press in March that church investigators met with Burns repeatedly to make sure that they stood exactly what his denials were. Here's what I didn't do to him. And I didn't do some of this either.
That's your second tasteless comment of the week.
What's your quota at this point?
Well, I was out last week. So I
had to make up
have an
some
extra. We're running out of time here. Anyway, so that's that story. They were defending this guy for a while. Finally they caved.
I thought we were going to
3:30. We're not.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'll finish the story. Okay, so anyway.
Half an hour more material, quick.
We can do it. I can talk about where we were last week.
Yeah.
Me and Amanda. Who else has got news?
I do. I have a back pedophilia story.
I got another one here. Go ahead.
Okay. A Montreal sex sting has netted 2 New Jersey priests, and you might also call them pontiff pimps. Yep. They have voluntarily removed themselves from their ministries following their arrests in Canada. Well, I don't know how they could not voluntarily remove themselves.
I want to know why they had to.
Yeah.
Why they weren't immediately canned.
Yeah, I know.
But okay, go ahead.
Okay. Following their arrest in Canada by Montreal police who were conducting a widespread sex sting operation.
Yeah.
The Reverend Eugene Hendricks of Gutenberg and the Reverend William Gliblin, age 70, of Edgewater, were released by Canadian authorities. By the way, Hendricks is 50. I don't think I said his age. Okay, were released by Canadian authorities this week and are back in the United States. The diocese learned of the arrests after diocese lawyers were contacted by Canadian authorities, who were tight-lipped about the sting operation Friday because they said it was an ongoing investigation. The 2-week-old sting came to light.
There's other reasons you might want to stay tight-lipped around some of these priests. Okay. I can't help it.
I know.
I can't help it. I don't mean to turn this into just,
I know.
Dirty jokes and poking fun, but good grief.
Yeah.
Good grief.
I know. The 2-week-old sting came to light Friday when Montreal police announced the arrests of Germaine Bellefeu, age 70, and Giles Gauthier, age 50, on 11 counts of procurement Now, why that's the charge, I'm not sure. But
Procurement.
Canadian law.
That's lining up people to have sex with other people.
Okay.
That's procurement.
All right. 30 people were arrested in
Don't ask me
raids
how I know
in Montreal on Wednesday night. Have some experience with this, Jeff?
No.
Nope.
No, I told you not to ask me, though.
Okay.
Because it's not interesting.
Yeah. Police said the operation began after they received complaints from residents in a Montreal neighborhood that teenage boys were involved in prostitution. The French-Canadian suspects allegedly were recruiting teens, saying they could make between $20 and $200 per client. Police said the ringleaders...
I got a Sam like that.
Really? Oh, no. Oh. Police said the ringleaders took 30% of the earnings. So not only were they abusing these boys, they were also profiting from it.
That's called. That is called.
Nasty.
Well, that too. That's called prostitution.
Yeah.
And those guys are called pimps.
Yeah. Being pimpy.
Anti-evolution conservatives plan comeback in Kansas. 2 years ago, the world watched as moderates and conservatives battled for control of the Kansas Board of Education. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yep.
That was a big deal.
Sure do.
The moderates won and quickly reversed a 1999 decision to downplay the teaching of evolution. Then the board faded from the national news. Commentators, who contended the evolution fight had made Kansas a laughingstock, which it certainly did, turned their concerns elsewhere. Now conservatives are quietly working for a comeback in the August 6th primary. Their goal, changes in education from funding of public schools to how science is taught.
Not good.
They may be very quiet about it, but I believe it is clearly the situation that the far-right groups are trying to take back control of the state board, said Craig Grant, a lobbyist with the Kansas National Educational Association.
Can I stop you a second?
Yeah.
I just want to point out that before I came here today,
Yeah?
I was looking in the Kansas City Star for religion news.
Yeah?
Not one peep about this. Not one.
Interesting.
Okay, sorry.
5 of the 10 seats are up for grabs, 2 of them in the Kansas City area. 4 races feature conservatives against moderates. The 5th pits moderate incumbent Janet Waugh of Kansas City, Kansas, against political newcomer Herschel Martin of Kansas City. Martin calls himself a moderate, but moderates say he is a conservative on evolution. If Martin and all the conservatives win, the board could have enough votes to bring evolution back as a topic for review. If the votes are there, incumbent conservative John Bacon of Olathe says he would put evolution on the table again. Olathe?
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah.
Olathe. Says he would put evolution back on the table again if he is reelected. So there you go. These people don't stop.
Man.
Yeah.
Don't be complacent just because, you know, some religious transgression in your area has been defeated.
Yeah.
They circle their wagons, they muster their forces, and they come at you again.
By the way, since we're talking about evolution and creationism,
Yeah.
I ran into a great article about William Dembski this week. Alan Orr is doing a review of his new book, which is called The No Free Lunch Theorem, or it's called No Free Lunch.
Yeah.
And Alan Orr does as fine and brilliant a job as I've seen of picking apart the claims of what's his thing? What do you call it? No, it's irreducible complexity is Behe.
Right.
His is intelligent design.
Dembski.
Specifically, his computation theory stuff. What do you call it?
I forget.
Oh well. Anyway, I'll post that address in the chat room.
Okay, great. And say it out loud also for the sake of people that don't want to read the chat log.
Hang on, I'm going to have to bring the mic over here.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see. The address is bostonreview.mit.edu/BR27.3/ORR.html.
I see we've just lost somebody going by the nickname Glory Be Amen in the chat room.
People are coming in and out all the time, and Glory Be Amen was here last week. They were atheist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
They're just
Glory be
just poking
Amen
fun.
is a regular.
Yeah.
Oh, I never noticed Glory Be Amen
And
before.
I was actually noticing we have a very large number of people
Yeah.
this week. It looks like
Hi,
11
everybody.
people plus us plus 2 infidel moderators.
Right. Well, that's key. Nice, healthy
Fantastic.
Yeah.
turnout. Oh,
Plus,
and by the way,
a specified number of people in the MSN chat room.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
And let me go ahead with that reminder and just make our pitch. If you are enjoying listening to our show, of course, those of you in... Huh? What? Oh, boy. Yeah, thank you.
Fan base.
If you're enjoying listening to our show and you're not already aware of the chat room and don't use that, if you're able to listen live, which means Saturdays from 2 to 3:30 Central Time, you can go to the Atheist Network website, www.atheistnetwork.com, click on the chat link, and you'll find yourself in a chat room where you can interact with other folks listening live to the audio stream.
Mm-hmm.
And we do monitor the chat room as we're doing the show, and occasionally there's some back and forth and questions get answered and stuff like that. And it's especially cool. We also post a log of the chat session along with the past episodes on the Atheist Community of Austin website, which is www.atheist-community.org. Thank you.
And then /radio.htm to get straight to this show.
Right. And again, if you are enjoying our show, tell your friends, your loved ones, your coworkers, your pets, your random people on the street what a fine program we do and what a fine service is offered by the Atheist Network in general that hosts a number of extremely good programs, all of which are worth listening to, and I listen to each and every one of them.
Reggie rules.
Yay, Reggie!
Reggie does indeed rule. The guy is he is a trailblazer. So,
and by the way, the word I was trying to come up with in association with Dembski is specified complexity.
oh boy.
You remember that
Okay.
from the debate, right?
No. Did they use
No.
that term?
Probably. but
There was a debate
I don't remember.
live debate was held at the University of Texas here in Austin that a bunch of us went down to, and it was a travesty. Virgin window owner keeps experts away.
Wait, the
No,
guy
let
who
me
owns the
explain.
window
Let me
is the virgin?
explain. Let me explain. The owner of a window in Brazil.
Yeah.
Well, that's not very specific yet. I suppose a lot of people living in the outback in Brazil that probably don't.
But
have
he's
windows.
also a virgin.
The owner of a window in Brazil, where an image of the Virgin Mary is said to have appeared, is refusing to let experts examine it.
Aww.
2 scientists have been directed by 3 universities in Sao Paulo to study the glass in a laboratory.
Mm-hmm.
But Antonio Jose Roca does not want it removed from his house.
No, you may not.
Physicist George Luis da Silva.
Yeah.
Huh?
No soup for you.
The soup Nazi from Seinfeld.
If scientists examine our window too closely, it won't be a virgin anymore.
They would have violated her.
It would be the sexually promiscuous Mary. Where was I? Physicist George Luis da Silva Lino from Braz, Cuba's university, told Agora SP newspaper, quote, "If we do not remove the glass and take it to the lab, the results of the test will not be good enough." The Virgin allegedly appeared on glass at a house in the town of Ferraz de Vasconcelos. The Catholic Church is now preparing to name its team of experts, which will analyze the image to see if it's a miracle, but not too closely. One local priest has already claimed the image was caused by cleaning fluids. The image was first seen by 3 children, and so far more than 123,000 people have visited the site.
Oh,
and
my
she's still a virgin.
Yeah. 123,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there we go. What else we got? I know there's more news. Harry?
Oh, well, let's
What's your
see.
next news?
I've got news about a couple that could be evicted for praying too loudly.
Really?
Yes, and they live in Ontario.
How loudly is too loudly?
See, I wish they would specify in here, but they don't really say how loudly these people are praying. But I've got to start with this quote.
They
It's
don't
just
count,
classic.
like decibels or anything?
No, well,
Right.
no, it doesn't. It doesn't make reference to that.
All right.
But a neighbor said, quote, Tenant Tabitha Higham says she was afraid of the couple after meeting them in the building's laundry room. Quote, they told me they were prophets. I was really scared. At first I thought it was kind of funny, but I haven't gone to the laundry room since. I just love that.
Well, you wouldn't have to be afraid of us because, of course, we are non-prophets.
That's right. The non-prophets, folks.
That was the sound of me banging the
You
table,
heard it
which I
here,
probably shouldn't
folks.
have done.
You heard it here first.
Oh, well.
2 born-again Christians face eviction from their flat for praying too loudly. This is Teresa Tafawa and Derek Mitchell have appeared before the Ontario Rental Housing Tribunal following repeated complaints from neighbors. They are awaiting a verdict. The building's property manager, Richard Finder, claims they don't listen to any authority except perhaps God's. They say they are spreading the word. Canada.com website reports the eviction notice claims their praying was excessively loud and disruptive to other tenants. Mrs. Tafawa, who has lived in the flat in Cornwall for 6 years, said, quote, "When we go out to praise the Lord, we don't do it viciously. It's just to praise the Lord," end quote. Mr. Finder is reported to have told the tribunal, quote, "They don't listen to any other authority except perhaps the authority of God."
Didn't they already say that?
Yeah. Tenant Tabitha, okay, and then of course it goes into the London foundry that forged the original Liberty Bell.
Forged them?
Yeah.
What do you mean forged them? Can they go to jail for that?
I don't think so. Not this kind of forgery. Well, forging. Not only did they forge the original Liberty Bell, they also forged Big Ben.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. I'm telling you. And they're casting a massive bell.
Casting.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. You got it. That will be used to commemorate the first anniversary of the World Trade Center attack in New York. But there's a catch. And it's not the fact that the 650-pound bell weighs that many pounds. I don't know where I'm going with this joke. It's crashing and burning really quickly.
Don't do jokes. Just
Yeah,
do the story.
sorry. Okay, will be delivered to Trinity Church on the edges of Ground Zero, and church officials have lobbied the White House to have President Bush ring it at services on September 11th.
I'm sure he'll do it too.
I'm sure he will, but yet he has yet to confirm. He has yet to make a decision.
He does not know when to quit.
I know. Yeah, but Bush officials have confirmed that he will be in New York. The bell will be a gift from the people of London. So basically they're making this bell, and of course here's what the inscription is going to say. So we're going to have yet another reference to God and religion, that should be a secular reference, but whatever. Basically here's what the inscription will say. It will say, "To the greater glory of God and in recognition of the enduring links between the city of London and the city of New York, forged in adversity, September 11th, 2001. Trinity Church, the city's tallest building a century ago, faces Wall Street. It survived the September 11th attack on the 110-story World Trade Center 5 blocks away, but services did not resume until January. In London, Oliver, let's see if I can...
5 blocks away.
Yeah.
And it survived.
Yeah.
It's a miracle.
Yeah. Lord Mayor Michael Oliver also cited America's support for beleaguered Britain during World War II. Their support to us in dark hours 50 years ago has never been forgotten here in London, unquote, he said.
Huh.
The bell is the latest to be created at what the Guinness Book of World Records says is Britain's oldest manufacturing company, besides the original Liberty Bell, which was delivered in August 1752, but had to be recast after it cracked a month later. And Big Ben. Whitechapel forged the Great Bell of Montreal.
What they're saying is these guys just don't make very good bells.
Well, they're...
Could we just politely say thanks,
Yes,
but no
thanks,
thanks? We'll
but
get
no-
our own damn bell?
Doesn't sound like it.
Our own dumbbell?
We'll get our own dumbbell.
He'll go down there and he'll do his little speech.
Yeah.
On September
Yeah.
11th. Our own little dumbbell.
Yeah, exactly.
All
That's
right.
a good joke.
I have some statistics here. This was I want to send thanks out to Wendy Britton, former ACA member, now living in
Seattle.
in
Well,
Seattle.
Bellevue.
Washington
Seattle.
State.
Yep.
She sent a link to a site that or something, which had statistics on Americans with no religion. Now, you may have heard the recent statistics that said 14% of the population in the United States have no religion.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they're all atheists necessarily.
Right. They just don't claim a religion.
They do not claim any religion whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, that varies by state.
Does it now?
Yeah, it's not 14%
That's
homogenously over the entire 50 states.
Mm-hmm.
So, So just guess, which state has the lowest percentage of Americans with no religion? Make a guess.
Tim
Okay.
says Alabama.
Tim says Alabama. Any other guesses?
Wait.
Lowest percentage
Lowest
of
percentage.
people without religion. What state?
Idaho?
Kansas?
We have a Alabama, a Kansas, and an Idaho. You're all wrong. It's North Dakota.
Wow.
Only 4%. Only
Wow.
4% of the people in North Dakota said that they had no religion.
3 people.
there's more than that many living. Tim says 3 people. Okay, which state? This is easier. Which state has the highest percentage of people with no religion?
Texas.
I saw it, so I
No.
disqualify myself.
Oh, with no religion?
Highest percentage with no religion. You're not saying
No.
Texas, Tim?
No.
Had I not seen it, I would have said California.
Okay.
Tim said Oregon.
California,
I'm
Oregon.
going to say
Actually,
Rhode
I wouldn't,
Island.
because all the people
Rhode
in
Island.
California have got some
You just think
New
because
Age religion.
statistics don't work that way.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
know.
based on overall population.
Yeah.
Tim is correct. It's Oregon
Oh.
with 28%.
Yay, Tim.
Yay!
Washington State is number 2 with 27. Then Vermont, 24. Colorado, 23. California, 21. So it's in the top 5. Rhode Island.
Not on there.
There's 2
Okay.
lists. There's one alphabetically by state and one highest to lowest. Rhode Island, 17%. That's East Coast, so it's slightly above average.
Mm-hmm.
My own home state of Illinois, 16%. Getting a little closer to average
What's
there.
Texas
but,
again?
But it's very interesting. Texas, here in our own state of Texas, 12%, below the national average.
Mm.
So
It's
there you
near
go.
the bottom, actually. Well, bottom 10.
Yeah, but it's by population too. So, does anybody in the chat room want to know what percentage of people are have religion in their states? If anybody asks, so we'll tell you.
Okay.
We'll tell you. Now, talking about that bell, and everybody knows that the September 11 attack was a huge excuse for religious fundamentalists to come out of the
Maryland,
woodwork.
Connecticut,
Okay, Maryland.
Missouri, Michigan,
Hold on.
Yep.
Maryland 15,
Connecticut,
Connecticut 14, Missouri 17,
Mizzou.
Michigan,
Michigan 17,
Georgia.
Georgia 13.
That's about
As soon
it.
as you're into the south,
Okay.
it starts plummeting. And also the central area of the country, as opposed to the east and west coast,
Okay.
are where the lowest percentage.
Wow, look at Tennessee, 9%.
9%. Tennessee's way, and Alabama is not even at the bottom of the list. Alabama is the third from the bottom, tied with at 7% with Mississippi. Yeah, what a surprise!
Yeah.
And South Dakota is way down there too, at 8%.
Interesting.
Bizarre. So, everybody knows that
Go to
September
North
11 was a
Dakotas.
big excuse for
Yeah.
religious fundamentalists to come out of the woodwork, right? And nobody wants to confront the fact that the terrorists were religiously motivated.
Right.
Well, if you are on the internet, you can find, I'm afraid I don't have a link, but you can find the transcript of the translation of the letter that was found in the hotel rooms of
Yeah.
the actual hijackers.
By the way, you know who got on that story first? It was Bernstein.
Was it?
Yeah.
And so I got that transcript. And we did this on the TV show last year, but I want to do it again for the radio audience now because I've never gotten around to these statistics. I did a simple in Word, right? You load in the text, and you can do a search for certain words and get a count of how many times certain words appear, right? So let's just go through this letter and see how many times certain words occur. Infidel. Only twice.
That's it?
You'd expect that to come up a lot more. I think that's more a stereotype, their use of the word infidel. Angel, twice.
That's it?
Yeah. Reward, twice. Evil, twice.
Evil.
Devil, twice.
Little pinky.
Promised, 3 times. Martyr or martyrdom, 3 times. Servant, 3 times, believer 3 times, worship 3 times, pious 3 times, paradise 4 times, soul 4 times, Quran 4 times, heaven 5 times, obey or obedience 5 times, non-believer 6 times. Note that non-believer is synonymous with infidel. Faith or faithful 7 times, Lord 7 times, blessed, blessed, or blessings 8 times, pray or prayer 9 times, prophet, P-R-O-P-H-E-T, the exact opposite of what we ain't, or the exact opposite of what we are, 17 times. Whoa. Supplication, meaning prayer, 18 times. God, 88 times.
Whoa.
In this, like, 3-4-page letter.
88.
88 times. The word God appears in the letter written to the terrorists.
Sparky says...
encouraging them to go through with the last few bits.
Sparky said, gee, infidel appeared more times than the last State of the Union address.
So there you go. To those of you who think that religion had nothing to do with that, tell people that want to argue with you about that. 88 times
88.
The word God appeared
how many pages?
In the letter. I don't have an exact amount, but it wasn't that long.
Wow.
Let me see if it's in this. No, it's not here. One of the copies was found in a suitcase belonging to Mohammed Atta, who investigators said was aboard American Airlines Flight 11, the first plane to crash into the World Trade Center. Yeah. The third was discovered in the wreckage of United Airlines Flight 93 that crashed in Pennsylvania.
Does it say how many times Virgins was in there? Does it make reference to that?
Ashcroft goes, what?
Does it make reference to virgin? Does it say how many times that was in there?
I didn't count that word. I could go back and do that. Ashcroft, of course, is spinning this like crazy. Let me make it clear that while this letter contains a number of religious references, I know the exact number, Ashcroft. I do not believe it to be representative of Muslims or the Islamic faith.
Oh, because Muslims in general don't use the word God? What?
Most Muslims aren't that fanatical.
Buildings. Okay.
Boy.
Well. So there you go. Now, another fun thing we liked to do on the TV show was read quotes from the Founding Fathers.
Ah.
Fill some airtime with this?
Yeah.
Well, we got like 3 minutes to fill.
Okay.
That'd be a good end note.
This is for those folks who believe that this is a Christian nation, okay? And a good place to look for these quotes is on infidels.org and also organizations that are concerned with church-state separation issues often will have some collection of quotes from the Founding Fathers that indicated what their actual religious views were. This is my personal favorite, right at the top of the list. Thomas Jefferson. The Christian God can easily be pictured as virtually the same God as many ancient gods of past civilizations. The Christian God is a three-headed monster, cruel, vengeful, and capricious. If one wishes to know more of this raging, three-headed beast-like God, one only needs to look at the caliber of people who say they serve him. They are always of two classes, fools and hypocrites. Yeah. In a letter to Baron von Humboldt in 1813, Jefferson wrote, "History, I believe, furnishes no example of a priest-ridden people maintaining a free civil government. This marks the lowest grade of ignorance, of which their political as well as religious leaders will always avail themselves for their own purposes." The day will come when the mystical generation of Jesus, by the Supreme Being as his Father, in the womb of a virgin, will be classed with the will be classed along with the fable of the generation of Minerva in the brain of Jupiter.
Oh, I hope he's right. Was that also Jefferson?
Yep. In Works, Volume 1, page 365.
Mm-hmm.
And in a letter, this is about the Ten Commandments. This is very, very useful
yes.
there. In a letter to Major John Cartwright, who was claiming that there is a biblical basis for the laws of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, quote, "The common law existed while the Anglo-Saxons were yet pagans, at a time when they had never yet heard the name of Christ pronounced, or knew that such a character had ever existed." That's Jefferson. So, are we done? Do I need to...
Yeah, I guess we are.
We'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We do this program every week. We are here to bring you all the news that is pertinent to our shared view of reality as a place where the natural laws are supreme and invisible, supernatural ghosts and pixies and elves and dragons and things are just made up and have no bearing on anything. We will leave you once again with the Aquabats and their song Lotto Fever. Listen carefully to the words of this song, all about how a young man finds a magic fish that promises to grant his wishes. He quits his job, he wishes like crazy, and he doesn't get anything.